Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it's about the safest investment in the world." And real estate is what we do. This is the Realtors Radio Network. There's no sense in overcomplicating real estate. And if you're a first-time home buyer, an investor, or a real estate agent, you're about to get useful, practical, and smart advice on every facet of real estate. Welcome to the Realtors Radio Network. Now your hosts, Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough.
Welcome to Realtors Radio Network. Today we have a guest that we've been eagerly awaiting to interview. But first, the usual suspects. We have Santos Garcia.
Como todos los días.
Look at Tres Patines. Oh, my God. And we have Dawn McCullough and myself, Marcos Suarez. And today we have Rosangeles Lora, who we've been saying, oh, let's get together. Let's do this. But today we actually got to meet up. So how are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here to join you guys with this wonderful podcast. I am very excited.
Awesome. Listen, we've been talking about this, and we've been wanting to just to chat with you, see what you have going on. We know. Well, tell us what you did before real estate. We always like to ask that as a first question, just to get that out of the way.
Okay, so before real estate, I did work in the medical fields. I was a receptionist in an urgent care, and I worked in cardiology as well.
Okay. How was that? It sounds scary. Were you just...
Wow.
Actually, it's something that I enjoy doing a lot.
Yeah?
I worked helping patients with the registration process, collecting their document, their ID, insurance, and getting them registered so that they can see medical providers.
Okay.
Similar to real estate.
Yeah, that sounds very...
You collect their pre-approval just so they can see properties.
Yes.
Santos, you still have me cracking up with this.
Como todos los días.
So what led you into real estate? What made you think, oh, let me just try real estate?
So I was in the process of figuring out what I wanted to do in my future. And I had a conversation with my father, who's also a realtor here in the company. And one of the things that I expressed to him was that I was concerned that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go back to college, but I knew I wanted to be successful in life. And he suggested that I at least try this real estate thing. And I'm glad I did.
Awesome.
And here we are.
We're glad you did. Yes.
Yes.
It's been a fun experience. You're always willing to go out, learn, try stuff. You're always going out networking with us. So it's fun to have you at the company. I really I'm glad you're here.
Yes. One of the things that I also did before real estate, I was a substitute teacher. And I enjoyed teaching kids. I taught from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. Wow. And that's how I met Clarabelle. She introduced me to the company, and I enjoy the fact that she was able to teach me things, and now I'm eager to teach others.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another transferable skill, right?
Yeah.
You got to teach your clients, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
It's funny because you do have to educate your clients an awful lot in this business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and every client, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm repeating the same thing, but yeah, it's a new client. You have to re-educate.
Exactly.
And sometimes we're getting re-educated, right? Like in this last year,
Of course.
things got turned around and we had to relearn a few things. And so we're learning, we're teaching, we're relearning. So it's an interesting circle.
Yeah.
How long have you been in real estate now?
It's been 3 years. And every day I try to make it a point to learn something new.
Great.
I spend a lot of time reading real estate books and surrounding myself by real estate professionals.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What I noticed that you come in very early to start doing your role plays, working out scripts and things like that. That's admirable because not everybody is that committed.
Thank you. Yes, I make sure that I set aside time for sharpening my tools, my skills, and communicating in a way that I can make my clients feel like they're working with somebody that knows what they're doing and that cares about them as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that is fantastic. You hear that, guys? If you're out there,
Listen
you have
up.
to go Rose, because Rose knows what she's doing, and she cares.
Rose knows.
It's funny. A fun experience that I had while, making the change of becoming a realtor was that I had to take the real estate class twice. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that had to maybe take the course more than once, but I made it a point to spend time reading the materials. I read that long book, and I spent hours and hours just, trying to make sure I passed the test. I took it at least 5 times.
Wow. Yeah, so that's, you wanted to make sure you knew.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, that's good. So 3 years in real estate, have you had any crazy stories yet? Not everybody does. Some people have been in the business 20 years and they don't have any real crazy stories, but sometimes they come across your
I'm
career.
sure with experience it comes with funny stories. One of the funniest one I had was that I was going to an open house and I'm greeting the agent and he's telling me, oh, you have to wear booties in this house. I said, okay, yes, no problem. But as I'm going up the stairs, his wife is there and she's like, I have to go with you when you go in this room because we have a spider collection.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, I'm not sure I want to go inside. I was like, can you just, take my buyer? I'll wait for you outside. And sure enough, there was big tarantulas in that room.
So, I've come across this several times.
Really?
And each time I just am amazed. Like, I really didn't know that this is a thing.
A thing, yeah.
It really is, though. And it's pretty extensive. And of all the collections that I've come across, it's not just one, right? It's pretty extensive. I really was not aware of this. And every time I see it, I saw one recently, it's almost like I'm re-surprised all over again. Yeah.
I did also have, I was showing a house for one of my colleagues. She asked me to do the favor to show her clients a house because she didn't have the time. So I showed the house. I'm going, and I see a cat just jump from the kitchen counter. And I'm like, oh, it must be just a cat. Then as I'm opening rooms, I see there's like, I don't know if it's the same cat following me around or if there's multiple cats. Then we decide to open the sliding door to the backyard and the cat escaped the house.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is not even my clients. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I'm not chasing this cat.
Uh-oh.
It was really late at night.
Oh, boy.
Well, not super late, but late enough to be dark. And luckily, the cat just decided to come back in. Whoa. And I was like...
We won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody.
There was no showing instruction that there was even a cat in this house.
Yeah, we won't tell.
Terrible.
Only the 8 million people watching.
So, that actually always really surprises me because I have been to houses where, we're looking at the house and maybe it has a garage entrance inside. And I remember one particular instance where I was going to open the garage door, but my client said something and I kind of turned. So I didn't really fully open the door, thank goodness. And I just heard this dog like charging at the garage door and I just pulled it shut. But there were no instructions. And that is something
it's concerning.
You cannot forget. Yeah. Right. It's
you feel like your life is in danger.
Exactly. Sure? And you never know. Listen, if my client comes with their children to a showing, they're more likely to try and like stick their fingers in the dog's face or try to pet it or whatever. And it can become a real issue. And the last thing we want is our clients to be in danger. So it always surprises me when people forget those very important instructions of like, don't open this door, don't let the cat out.
There's a monster on the other side of the door.
I mean, it could be.
I showed 2 properties last week with instructions. The first one was do not let the cat out. So I tell my client when we are going into the house, I was like, just let me close that door real quick because there's a cat in here. So they go ahead. I'm closing the doors. They're looking at the house. They go to a room, and my client and her son, they were about to go through a wall just to run from something in the bed. She says, there's something in the bed. The bed is moving. And it was the cat that was there.
Oh, my goodness.
That was something funny. And then the other house, it says, be careful with the dog. When they say be careful with the dog,
But it's large and friendly, right?
Not only that, I'm thinking it's one dog. I went into this house, there were 17 dogs in
Whoa.
cages. Different sizes.
What did that
and there
smell
was
like?
big ones.
Oh, man.
I was like, okay, the dog.
Yeah.
So that was
Wow.
interesting. 17 dogs. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Were they
that's
friendly?
a kennel. They
Nah, I
breeding
think they were
dogs?
all practicing for something because they were all barking at the same time.
Were they in tune? Were they like singing? You know, in
it was,
sync?
They were practicing, so you know.
the Philharmonic of dogs. Like the
Maybe
choir.
maybe they were going to karaoke night.
Maybe
that
they're
night.
singing at their dog church. It's a
I
choir.
also remember hosting an open house, and we had little visitors in the kitchen as well. Remember that one?
Yes. I was visiting you. Oh my goodness, I remember that house.
What kind of little visitors are we
what kind
talking
of
about?
yeah.
It looked like the floor was moving. I'm like, what the hell was going on?
What?
There were so many of these little creatures walking around the house.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no! What do you mean? They better not be roaches.
Yeah, they were
Oh
roaches.
no,
Oh,
we're,
no.
we are not saying names.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah,
no!
it was interesting.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
don't lean on anything. Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Oh
I
my-
can't,
Yeah.
guys. There's like not that many things that will totally freak me out going in a house, but that's one of them.
Roaches, yeah.
I remember I was showing a condo one time, and it had it was one of those where the exterior door, the entrance door, is just for the 2 units for upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
And from the outside, there were dead roaches,
Before even
outside
opening the
before I
door.
even opened the door, and I knew the unit was vacant, and I said to my client, I just can't go in there. I can't. Like, I'm so freaked out by roaches. And I said, do you still want to go in? And I remember her saying, well, I wouldn't buy it, but I still want to go in and see it. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, all right, listen, I'm just going to kind of like open the door for you. I literally can't go in because I'll have to like burn my clothes and throw my shoes out,
That's
which
funny.
I've done throwing the shoes out before.
I think another one of the interesting stories that I had was during COVID. It was my first buyer. We had seen so many houses. None of our offers would get accepted. So I started seeing houses without her. I said, I kind of know what you like. So I'm going to go look at this property. And if I think you'll like it, we'll come together just to save you some time. And when I go in this house, first thing I say, hey, is anybody home? There's nobody home. I start looking at the house. I'm making a video. Go in the basement. Okay. Start going up the stairs. I open the door, and there was an old guy without a shirt on.
I remember that.
And he's like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm so
Who are
sorry.
you?
Who are you?
Hold on a second.
I didn't even want to keep looking at the house. I was
Of
just like,
course.
Now, were you recording at that time?
I was recording. I still have the video.
She got
It's
video.
pretty
Oh, boy.
funny.
Oh,
my
boy.
goodness.
He's like, yeah, you can keep looking at the house. And I'm like,
No.
I think
Oh,
it's
my
one of those
goodness.
real estate mistakes you never want to make again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank God
No
COVID
kidding.
is over.
So, 3 years in the business now, what would you say is something that you wish you knew before you got into real estate? Like, wow, if I knew that about real estate before.
Or
anything-
maybe just that you wish you knew so you're a little bit more prepared or
Right.
something like that.
So I think that one of the things that I learned by coming to the office is that being around realtors can really change the way you look at the business, and being careful with who you hang out with, because a lot of people can talk negative about things that are positive, and they can change your perspective,
Yes.
and you can also motivate or discourage others. So definitely being more careful what you listen to.
Good. Yeah, that's very true. It's your association does dictate to a large extent of how you're going to do in life and in your career and certainly in real estate.
Yeah.
It does matter. And it's one of those things for people who got into real estate during COVID, where everything was like, oh, stay away from each other. That was that hurt those realtors that came in during that time, because if you're not around your peers, your colleagues that are doing things the right way, that are doing things in such a way that they're excelling, right? They're succeeding. If you don't see that, how could you emulate it, right? How could
Yeah.
you copy that? success leaves clues, and you want to follow those clues. Oh, this person's doing this. Let me do this. Because even if you do it badly, you're going to get somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is good to be careful about who you associate with, and to just associate with somebody too, right? Because you want to start from somewhere, but you have to start from where you are, wherever it is that you are. Just start.
Yeah. Another thing that I realized recently was that I was always intimidated by listing agents that when you call them, they're mean to you and they want to make you feel like, oh, you have no chance getting this house. And I'm like, now I see things differently because maybe because of that interaction, I would get intimidated. Now I'm so confident that I don't entertain that. And if it takes me escalating this to the higher ups, I will.
Yes. I know. We had that together. You told me, could you call somebody for me? Because this person's not doing the right thing.
And that transaction didn't change as it progressed. But hey, we closed.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters. It's for you to advocate for your clients and do what's best for them.
Take action, right?
We had a funny situation with a mutual client too, right?
Yes.
There was a realtor who tried to steal a client from me. And I call you. Remember that? That was very interesting. And that agent said, if you want the best for your client, you should let your client work with me. Like, so I should let you steal my commission? Let me call somebody.
Let me get my attorney here.
Hold on a second.
Get my people into this. Hold on.
Does that really make sense to you? That's what you have to ask that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, make them feel, ignorant about asking making such a statement like that.
Yeah.
It's like, does that really sound like the best thing to do?
Yeah,
does that
exactly.
really make sense to you?
And he said it just like that. Like, you should do that. Yeah, you should. You should let me steal your commission and your client.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, just give me a bunch of mirrors and I'll give you gold, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Let me paint this rock really shiny.
Exactly.
This is gold now.
This is gold now. Yeah.
And another thing that I learned from Dawn coming here to the 100 Days of Greatness class is that don't give up so quick, because a lot of times agents, it was breaking my mind how they would say, don't call me. And I'm like, but how do I get in contact if I don't call you?
Right.
And then as we were brainstorming, she said, you can email them. And I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. So it's easy for us to give up, but when in doubt, call Dawn.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Who is it? Somebody came up with that.
Jose says, in Dawn we trust.
In Dawn we trust.
There you have it.
Well, thank you.
Don't give up. Do the right thing and call Dawn.
Right.
Yes.
If you're looking to buy or sell, call Dawn.
For Rose.
And Rose.
For a
And
sold
Rose.
sign on your lawn, call Dawn.
Call Rose. So, so they, I would say those are all good points because, as a new agent, you can get discouraged easy, especially if people are telling you no all the time.
Yes.
So you have to find other avenues, right? This is basically what it comes down. There's not just one way to do something.
Yes.
So that's it's good that you learned that so quickly, and because some people it takes a long time. They don't get the hint. Hey, that way isn't working. Try this,
And one of the things that I think you could say about me from working here is that I'm not afraid to try anything.
No, you're definitely a go-getter. So
I'm
it's
oh,
cool.
are we door knocking? Let's door knock. Are we
Yes.
doing door hangers? I'm doing door hangers.
Yes.
Are we doing Popeyes? I'm doing Popeyes.
Yes.
I'm trying everything.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work, at least I tried it all. But I can't say I tried it all. It didn't work unless I try it.
Exactly.
That's
I
true.
love it.
Yep.
And you're adventurous. You went with us to the
Orlando.
Yeah, that was a great
was fun.
conference.
That was
yeah.
a great time.
We had a great time.
You ready for the next one?
Yes.
Texas.
Yes, Texas. We're all trying to get a big crowd to go to Texas to try a few things. out there.
Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yes.
I'm definitely excited for that one because the last experience did not disappoint at all.
No, it was
I feel
great.
like we definitely grew more united.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. That's
Oh,
great.
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So we always like to ask people what their favorite apps are in real estate. Do you have a favorite app?
I was thinking hard about that one, and I think I would say Google is my favorite app.
Yeah.
It's just
Ooh, okay.
Google, Gmail.
You know my doctor? Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. That's your doctor.
I Google everything.
I
Dr.
know.
Vinny Boombots.
And
That's
now
your
with
doctor.
ChatGPT, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found my best friend.
ChatGPT is
Yep.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's the way to make the money, because at the end of the day, you could have Realtor.com, you can have all these other apps, you can have Canva, you can have marketing materials, but what really this determines if you're gonna go to the closing table or not is those emails to the attorneys, to the title company, to everybody involved in the transaction.
Absolutely.
Doing the work. Yeah, doing the work.
Yeah. And the follow up, right? It's all about. In the end, it's really you. The business
Yes.
is you, because you're doing the follow up. You're checking the emails. You're putting all the marketing materials together. You're doing the open houses.
Yeah.
It's all about your energy. So if it's interesting that Google or email. Those are even though they're not like an app. They're
They are
definitely a
apps.
tool that
Yeah, of
that
course.
you need in your business, right?
I just feel like we sometimes we take for granted what we have in our hands, and
Yes.
not realizing that that's really what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can name so many other apps, but I'm gonna stick to Gmail.
Google, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
How about your longest transaction?
Oh, my
Real
longest transaction. I just closed on my longest transaction last Friday, actually.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was my hardest earned check. We worked for a year and 7 months.
Wow.
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 It was definitely a learning experience. We went on their contract several times. I'm out of breath just to even think about everything that
Wow.
went on.
But I bet you have a happy client.
I definitely do. Yes, they can't wait to have me over and celebrate on that close.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. 591 days.
Wow. Who's counting?
Well, you're definitely counting that.
Just a guess.
That one's
Just a random guess.
I mean, at least we didn't make it to 2 years. I thought we were going to go a little longer.
You thought you guys were going to celebrate your
Whoa.
2-year anniversary?
I mean,
So let me ask you a question. When you're on that track with somebody, right? And let's face it, both you and the client could kind of feel like you're on this roller coaster
Yes.
and hit all the peaks and valleys. What do you do, or what do you what kind of advice do you give them to really keep them from not getting discouraged?
well, I think it's more on focusing on what's the real goal here. You want to buy a house.
Sure.
Let's not get distracted. Let's focus. I actually had to do 2 buyers consultations for this client because I felt like things have changed since we last did a buyer consultation.
Sure.
And now there's an urgency that we have that to take care of. And I always tell my clients, don't give up. There's ways to do this. It is possible. I don't care what anybody says that the market is crazy. If you trust me, I will get you the keys to your house.
Oh,
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
I love it.
You see that? Trust Rose.
Yeah.
You get your house keys.
Rose is wearing
awesome.
rose. I just realized that.
Very cool. So we always like to ask people, quickly, whatever comes to your mind, right? Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts.
I like Bustelo, but I'll go with Dunkin'.
Yeah.
You're the second person that told me that today.
Bustelo.
Bustelo
Yeah.
is good.
How about a favorite vacation spot?
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Second person to
Second
say that
person,
today.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else can we?
How about favorite town in New Jersey? Could be any town, even if you don't
Wow.
necessarily sell
When it
there.
comes to towns in New Jersey, I feel like I haven't seen them all. So I'm always discovering little towns here and there. But I'm learning that I'm liking more of like a country feeling.
Mhm.
So Clifton is nice.
Okay.
I do work Middlesex, but I like all of New Jersey, to be honest.
You're a Jersey girl. Once a Jersey girl, always,
Always
a Jersey, girl.
Jersey girl, yes.
Very true. How about well, I don't want to keep stealing all your questions. Anybody else have questions?
I guess I would say, like when you're meeting with a buyer, right, and you're kind of doing that consultation, what kind of advice do you give them to kind of prepare them for what they're, in store for? Because I think a lot of buyers, they come to you, they're excited, they want to buy a house. I've had clients that come to me and they're, we see a house they like and they're like, I'll take it, and now I got to kind of pave the road of letting them know kind of what we're up against in competition. So how do you really address that or even dissect it a little bit to prepare them for what, they're about to go through?
So I try to make sure I take my time with them. I have a roadmap and I go on a step-by-step process. And I always tell them, you don't have to remember this. I just want you to have a general idea of what happens from start to finish. And I'm always going to be here to answer your questions. There's no dumb questions to be asked here. And I always tell them, trust your professionals. You have a lender that's going to help you. You have me that's going to help you. You have your attorney for legal advice. And I don't know it all, but I will make sure to get your questions answered. But I always tell them as well that sometimes you think that this is something that's going to happen overnight. And I always tell them to trust the process. Even if it seems like your offer isn't getting accepted right away, I always say, just be patient and understand that this is normal. What we're going through, a million other people are going through, and it doesn't mean it's impossible.
That's great advice.
Absolutely.
Just to kind of set the expectations right.
And I like to make sure that they don't lose that motivation, because it's easy to lose motivation after you get rejection after rejection.
So true. So true. It's a and it's a tough thing to achieve, to get to a closing table. People don't realize all of the steps that are involved, and they don't realize all of the things that the realtor does behind the scenes, not just to keep that person still interested in the house that they thought they fell in love with at the beginning, because from start to close it might be a few months, and it's like, how do you keep that person engaged? How do you keep that person motivated and knowing, okay, this is the next step? And we do have to, as realtors, keep track of all of these steps and remind them. And so
and I think it's always important to ask us their motivation. Like, what is it? What is the real reason you're buying this house? Is it because you're bored and you have nothing else to do, and maybe you see everybody else is buying a house and you want to do it too? Or is it because you need to move and you have really no choice here? Let's be honest, what is the real goal here? Let's not focus on cosmetic things.
We don't do it anymore, but you want to make sure they just don't want to ride on your car, because we had a realtor here. Yeah, she had a client that he said, I only wanted to ride on the car.
Oh my goodness! Imagine that, just having somebody, you think you're showing a buyer a house, and they just wanted to be in your car that whole time.
They just want to spend time with you.
I would not feel that about that.
Oh,
that's why those buyer questionnaires are super important, because that way you can determine, are you a serious buyer or are you a curious buyer? It doesn't mean you're not a buyer. It just means you're not committed.
Right. You're not necessarily ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Anything else, guys?
No, I think we got some good info from you.
Yeah.
Kind of got to get to know you a little bit more. And
well, thank you guys for having me.
So I have another question though. Before we wrap up, tell us which towns, I know you said Middlesex, but any towns in particular that you focus on, 2 or 3 towns, whatever it is that you.
So I just go based on the client's needs. If it means that I have to go to East Brunswick, if it means that I have to go to Somerset, if it means that I have to go, I try to make sure that it's a place where they can find their home. That's the most important part, whether it is because of work location or because they just like the town. It's important just to put the client's need first.
Excellent. And where could clients go to find you? On Facebook, or you're on Instagram, TikTok?
I don't know TikTok, but my Instagram is Rosangeles the Realtor.
Awesome. Facebook?
Rosangeles Lora.
Yeah. And what is your phone number, if you don't mind saying? Tell everybody what your phone number is.
Yes, my phone number is 347-322-7674.
All right. So thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciated you making time for us. I know you're busy. And so we're really happy that you came.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This is Realtors Radio Network signing off.
Keep an ear out for the next episode of the Realtors Radio Network, where Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough share their wealth of real estate knowledge. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, review, and share. Find us on social media at Realtors Radio Network. See you next time on the Realtors Radio Network.